Right, welcome back. And this was a report on this trilateral summit that took place here in Egypt between President Sisi, Jordan King Abdullah II, and the Abu Dhabi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan at Al Ittihadiyya Palace. A number of regional issues were discussed, as well as challenges, global challenges that are facing the region and the whole world, as well as the, of course, Arab Common File or Arab Common Action. To highlight the issue, we have with us over the phone Dr. Sherif Amir, Professor of International Relations. Good afternoon to you, sir.
Good afternoon.
Right, so we're speaking about this trilateral summit that took place here in Cairo, the significance of this visit and the timing of this summit.
Well, we all know that there is this kind of vital coordination between Egypt and the Emirates in the region, and we also know that Jordan has been a partner in the security coordination in this region. It is important to understand that the whole region now is going through turmoil with all the events that are taking place in the world, as you just said. We have an important topic that concerns the three countries. It's the Iranian file. We all know that the Americans are now trying to find a solution to, or on the bargaining table with the Iranians about the nuclear deal. This concerns the Emirates, this concerns Jordan, and of course, this is our national security in Egypt. So I think that President Sisi and his counterparts, Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed and King Abdullah II of Jordan, they know very well that this coordination could be a good sign for the West and for the United States that the region has allies now. We are backing each other, that every country has a concern, and the West and the United States should understand that the nuclear file of Iran is vital, that we could not accept any changes that will change the situation, the geopolitical situation in the Middle East, because this would push every country to take another steps to counter the threat of Iran.
Right. Dr. Sherif, let me here ask you a number of issues were discussed. Among them were the latest developments on the various cooperation tracks between or among the three countries. And atop of what they discussed were the Middle East peace, or the stalemate in the Middle East cause, the Palestinian cause, particularly after the recent escalation by the Israeli side inside Al-Quds and Al-Aqsa Mosque and Al-Haram al-Sharif at the Ibrahimi, the situation in Al-Haram al-Sharif at Lodge. The leaders have called for restoring calm in Al-Aqsa. How do you view the developments in this very particular cause at the backdrop of all the circumstances that are ongoing regionally and internationally at the same time?
Well, as we have seen, the escalation inside the Aqsa Mosque, because we have seen that the confrontations for the first time went into the sanctuary itself. It was very disturbing, the scenes, and it came in the month of Ramadan. So why this kind of escalation? Why the Israeli authorities did not maintain the security in that in this vital and holy place to the Muslims in the world? Why this provocation? Egypt, Jordan, and the Emirates, we have peace treaties with Israel, and I think that this meeting will give a sign to Israel that, listen, we have to, you have to respect the sentiments of all the Muslims in the world, in Ramadan especially. Why this violation on the Haram al-Sharif and the Aqsa Mosque? I think that it was repeated several times all over the past weeks. It's not one event, it was several events. People were injured, people were arrested. I think that things should be very clear to the Israeli authorities that signing peace with the Arab countries does not mean that they will keep silent for any violations. Jordan has the authority, the religious authority on the West Bank and the holy places. So King Abdullah is the one who has the authority on these places. I think that the Emirates, when they signed the peace treaty with Israel, it was about respecting mutual interest for both countries. Egypt is guaranteeing the security of the Palestinians. So I think it's very serious. It's unacceptable. The Israelis said, well, there were some infiltrators from the right wing of the Israeli movement, national movement and religious movements to penetrate and go into the Haram al-Sharif and make prayers there. Well, they had to stop them. Why? They let the confrontation between both sides. I think that Israel is always promoting, saying that they are guaranteeing the liberty and the freedom of religious practice in Jerusalem. So I think that they have to show the whole world, and not only the Arab world, that this is happening. So I think it's very important that the Arab countries who signed the peace treaties with Israel give a strong message now telling the Israelis, we do not wish the escalation. We never wish to see escalations. We want to see, yes, freedom of religious practice in Jerusalem, but in respect of all the communities there, the Muslims, the Christians, and the Jews, and everyone. So why this escalation on the Haram al-Sharif, or the Israelis, they called it the Temple Mount? Why this is happening now in this particular timing? If this provocation is trying to make interior political gains for the Israeli government, who is very shaky now, we don't know. But I think that the message is very clear now that Cairo, Abu Dhabi, Amman are very concerned, and they have to make it clear to Israel that enough is enough.
Right. The legal and historical situation of Al-Haram al-Sharif and Al-Aqsa Mosque and this whole area was very much focused on by the three leaders. Also, beside the Palestinian cause, there was the critical situation in the Arab region, particularly of what concerns Libya, Syria, Lebanon, Yemen. I mean here that the whole area is really seeing critical problems. From one side, instability, and in the other side, the inability to form governments. How do you view the critical situation in the Arab region, and how do you view efforts of the three leaders together to try to preserve the national security of the region?
Well, let's start by Libya. We have seen lately some armed conflict that never happened since many months ago. I think that Egypt was very concerned. So I think that what is taking place in these regions, as you said, it's the domino effect of the conflict between the West and Russia at the same time. I think that the Arab world is paying also the price economically and geopolitically, that we have to be very aware that there will be some destabilization, economic and geopolitical, by the main superpowers in order to influence the decision of the Arab world to take part in any camp. So So it's very well understood, and I expected that the first flare would be Libya. That we all know that there's all the superpowers present there, the Russians, the Americans, the Turks. Egypt is present, but not in military form, because we respect the sovereignty of Libya and the people of Libya. So everyone is present there. So this was the first part that the government was unable to be formed, and there was this chaos in Tripoli. And I think that we have to be very aware, because this is part of the whole scene that is taking place in the world now, on the international stage. So it's very important to see things clearly, that Syria has to maintain its sovereignty. There will be no violations. We heard a few days ago that Turkey was about to make a military operation in northern Iraq. Why northern Iraq? It's a sovereign country. Turkey has to respect it. There is no need to make this step now. So I think that at that precise moment, there will be some steps from some countries to gain some positions in the time that the whole world is being now concerned about the war going on in Ukraine. So I think that we have to be very, very aware. And we also know that there is the card of energy that is being played. They're trying to force the Arab countries, and this coordination between Egypt and Jordan and the Emirates is very important, because we have the energy also, the energy card, and we know that the superpowers are trying to influence us. So I think that the West has to get this message very clear, that we are not going to wait to this blackmail. We will protect our interest, protect it peacefully. This trilateralism meeting is a message that we are able to coordinate our positions. We are not spectators. The Arab world is not a spectator. We are present to guarantee our security politically and geopolitically.
Right. If we speak about Libya, Syria, and Lebanon, those three countries are role models for foreign interference in the domestic affairs or in the Arab world, jeopardizing the regional security and stability. How do you view that, and what is or what do the Arab countries call upon the international community to do regarding this issue?
Well, the first thing is Libya, and I think that the leadership in Egypt, the President Sisi, gave the warning since 2013 that there has to be a compromise in Libya, and so that Europe would not be threatened, especially that it has the oil fields. And we all know that Turkey was the main instigator of violence in this country. So I think that we have to give now a clear message also that what is taking place in Libya is getting back to square one. I mean by that now there are some militias trying to destabilize the security. Once the security is destabilized, we will not have a government. Once there is no government, chaos will reign, and we'll go back to 2011. This is unacceptable. So this is for Libya. I think that we have to give them the assurance to the people of Libya that we are backing them, that we respect their sovereignty, but also to give to the West the clear message that we are prepared to defend our interests. Again, it's not because there was silence and there was peace the last month that we are going to watch and see what's going to happen. No, we will defend our security and national security. For Lebanon, we all know the problem interiorly. The government is unable to rein politically and economically the situation because of the factions, whether Hezbollah, and Iran taking the decisions there. We all know that the energy is being very, very poor there, the electricity, everything. So I think that Hezbollah is playing this card that Iran will help them. And I think that our other factions are waiting that the Gulf states will help them. I think that Lebanon now is heading towards a deadlock because we don't see any compromise between the Hezbollah factions and the government in there. They have to find a national compromise, and I don't see it on the horizon. Concerning Syria, I think that the Arab world has to accept that the sovereignty of Syria now is being preserved through the Assad regime. We have seen the Emirates who started its relations with President al-Assad, who visited Abu Dhabi. And I think that now the chair of Syria in the Arab League has to be restored again because we have seen that what took place, it was just about destroying the sovereignty of the country between Turkey, between other countries. So the only solution is to take the side of the legal government there in Damascus. I think that all these issues are just a red flag that we have to be aware that there will be instigators of violence in the region in the coming months because of the global conflict between Russia and the West. And as usual, it happened in the First World War, it happened in the Second World War, and I hope this is not the Third World War, but always the Middle East paid a price in its sovereignty and its security. We always paid the price. I hope this time we are strong enough to make things clear that we will not be blackmailed anymore.
You, as you said, respectively here, that the issue varies from one country to other, but unfortunately, there is one common factor in each of the countries that we spoke about. The foreign interference, particularly from neighboring countries or countries saying that they are or they have friendly agenda despite that all. That has triggered instability in all countries. First issue is the foreign interference, plus the international community's will for countries to stabilize. How do you view that? How do you view how the international world, the international community is responding to the Middle East issues?
Well, it's very, I see it's very bad because we are dealing with our own problems. We have asked numerous times from the UN to lift the arms embargo, for example, on Libya, because Colonel Gaddafi is not there anymore. Why there is an arm embargo? Why don't they deserve to have a national army to defend themselves? This is in the hand of the UN and the international community. Although we have given all the assurances that there will be a national government, Egypt defended this on the international arena, but still they did not give any positive answer about it. So why this country is defenseless? What's the interest that there will be militias and, as you said, foreign interference by Turkey and other countries in their land? So I think this is very negative sign from the international community. The same thing about in Lebanon. I think that France has a huge role to play there. But I think that France and Iran and the EU and Iran do not wish confrontation on the soil of Lebanon. They don't wish a confrontation of interest there. So a statu quo, which means that nothing will change. The people are paying the price. So this is the international community. Once again, they are appeasing Iran, and Iran is not a regime to be appeased by any way. The same thing in Syria. Why there is places like Idlib under the authority of Turkey? These are territories of Syria. Why the international community is not urging Turkey to pull out its forces from these regions? This is a country who has been violated. its security and integrity and sovereignty is being violated. So they blame after that the Russians came to the aid of the Syrian state. Well, they have no other choice to face this invasion of Turkey but to ask the intervention of Russia. So I think it's a chessboard. It's a huge chessboard, and everyone is playing according to their interest. But the one thing that I could tell you that what we are seeing now is on the global arena that we won't live again the Sykes-Picot Accords as it happened in the First World War. But I think that the international atmosphere will change once again. It cannot go on like that anymore. Unfortunately, humanity makes changes through wars. So I think that's what we are seeing now. It's war, a global war that will change the whole scene again. You have the UN, Mr. Guterres is helpless in finding any solution anywhere. Antonio Guterres, he's doing his best, but he's helpless. The UN is a helpless body now. And I think this is very clear, and I think that Russia and the United States and Europe, the main powers, and China, and I think also the Middle East know that this has to change. We have to find another compromise, another international world order.
Right. If, I just have 1 minute left for me here. And in that 1 minute, I need to ask you about the required Arab joint action at this very upcoming stage.
Well, I think that the whole world is seeing the Arab world through the eye of oil and gas. Unfortunately, it's like that. And we have to accept how they see us. They see us as oil reserves and gas reserves. So we have to be smart enough to coordinate using this card as it was in the 1973 October War. But it has to be very, very wise because we should not anger the whole superpowers in all. But I think that what Russia is calling about a new world order is plausible for the Arab world. It will be very benefit for us to show the world that there is a place called the Middle East that you have to respect. It's rich with oil and gas, but in the same time, it has to be respected.
Right. Dr. Sherif Amir, Professor of International Relations, thank you so much for being with us today and for your input here. I guess that takes us to the end of this episode of our program, Arab Affairs. Next Saturday would be after Eid al-Fitr. So I guess a happy feast for all Muslims around the whole globe and for the Arab and Islamic world. Many thanks for watching.